This episode of Meet Your Neighbor is brought to you by Creative Edge Photography, specializing in action sports, weddings, family, and senior portraits. Creative Edge strives to capture memories that will last a lifetime.
Tim Mitchner, I'm the Executive Director of the Lindale Community Theater. I'm also the Technical Director of the Lake Country Playhouse in Mineola, and I'm a retired contractor. We moved to Mineola in 2006 because my daughter was marrying a young man from here, and she had moved here. I had retired from contracting. I was a general contractor in the Austin Round Rock area for over 20 years. And when I got here, I learned about the Lake Country Playhouse. Theater had been a passion of mine in high school and college, and I hadn't stepped foot on stage in 29 years when I moved here. And I went and auditioned for a show, and the rest, as they say. I enjoy entertaining people. I enjoy exposing people to new things. In fact, I was just talking about a man earlier today that had never been involved in theater in his life. His son, adult son, became very interested in theater. He started coming to shows, and he just recently made his debut on this stage in a show. And now that's about all he can think about. He's excited about theater. I'm excited about theater, and that's the kind of thing that really does it for me, is to see people step up here and grow to become other people, other things. We did a show once named Quilters. I believe one of the gals in there told me that she stopped counting at being 27 characters. So it's exciting, and to be able to pull that off and to take people along for that journey, that's exciting. Well, I'm very proud of my daughter. She's one of my greatest accomplishments. She's a teacher in Tyler. Very proud of her. I'm very proud of this theater. It started from absolutely nothing. Was just on a plywood stage in a big metal building at the Catholic Church in Lindale for several years. And then with some good fortune and folks that really believed in us, we were able to put the funds together to buy this whole building and spend a tremendous amount of time and money renovating it, and I'm very proud of it. I don't know that I have one single regret. You don't get to be, I'll be 62 soon. You don't get to be 62 without having regrets. I've certainly made mistakes, but I've had a really good life, and I think for the most part I've been pretty successful. I've lived in numerous places. I was born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky, which has become a large city now. I've been gone from there for 40 years. I've lived in Eastern Kentucky where I went to school, I've lived in New York City, I've lived in Atlanta, and then I've lived here for over 10 years in Mineola. There's a lot of things I like about East Texas. I definitely like the slower pace. I used to run 250 to 300 jobs a year in Austin, and it was just kind of crazy, and it changes you when you're under that kind of pressure. Here, there's not the same kind of pressure. I think it's beautiful here. It reminds me in many ways of Eastern Kentucky in particular, with large trees and rolling hills. Not as much fresh water and things as you might have in Kentucky, but it's still beautiful. I guess the slower pace, unfortunately, there's some other things that I don't like. So I'll keep the doors open here and not go into those. I think it's that I've been told and that I've given out, being in construction for many years, when one is using a circular saw, or any saw for that matter, one should always keep one's fingers firmly attached to one's hand. Well, certainly it was when I was in high school in Louisville. I was in choir at the time, knew nothing about theater. I think I was 14, not quite 15, when the theater teacher at this large high school I went to came into our room, and they were getting ready to do the show Man of La Mancha, which is about Don Quixote, the old man fighting the windmills. And at the time I was already about 6'4", rail thin, and he looked at me and he said, "Can you sing?" And I said, "Yes, sir, a little bit." He said, "I'd like to talk to you." And at the time I was heavily involved in basketball and tennis, and I kind of stopped all of that, went into theater, And I can tell you, the very first time I stepped onto the stage with an audience and the lights came up, it changed my life. Now, almost 50 years later, it continues to evolve and change my life. The Lindale Community Theater is going into the 2017 season. It's our 7th full season. We do 4 main stage productions. We've begun to have a lot of concerts, everything from local favorites, Shake, Rattle, and Roll, Elvis impersonators, to Randy Brown, a local musician songwriter out of Mineola, and his Unsung Songwriters series. We're very excited. We're becoming more and more of a performance venue. And while theater or live theater will always be our focus, we've begun to expand. And we think we're filling a critical need in East Texas. And of course, Tyler's got an excellent theater, but as you start going north from there, it starts, Lake Country Playhouse, of course, is a good theater in Mineola. You get into Lindale and you go east and west, there's not much. So hopefully we're serving an underserved performing arts population better and better every year. We think our production values are very high. So we look forward to everybody joining us. Most people that know me know that I'm a commercial hot air balloon pilot. I've sold all of my equipment now. People ask me how you become a millionaire in hot air ballooning. I always tell them start out with 5 million. You'll have only 1 million left pretty soon. It's a very expensive way to lose money. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've got hundreds of hours on the burners. Flew competition, passengers, Albuquerque. I've done a lot of it. Parachute folks in Illinois, I've done all that stuff. That's something a lot of folks don't know about me that aren't friends of mine. So, yeah, there's not a lot of us. That might be an interesting fact.